Yes, madam, it is visible, madam. You can.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to the next nature inspired algorithm, that is the genetic algorithm, one of the most popular and famous among all the nature inspired AI techniques. So, what here genetic algorithm deals with? It was first introduced by John Holland. Okay, he is one of the famous scientists who have introduced the genetic algorithm, or we can also call this genetic algorithm as evolutionary algorithm also. And this genetic algorithm is a abstraction of real biological evolution. That what is the abstraction of real biological evaluation? That how the parents meet and generate the child with the best qualities, or you can say in terms of computational system, how the you can say the population or the chromosomes meet to in order to produce the best solution. Like the genes are traveling everywhere to produce the best solution in next to next generation, means generation wise how the genes are traveling and how they inherit their property in order to produce the best solution. So genetic algorithm is based on this idea only, where we have a large number of solution, but we have to find out the best or optimal solution among the possible combination of the solutions. Second point is that the genetic algorithm will solve all the complex problems like the NP hard problems. NP hard problems, you can say the 01 knapsack problem. Some type of traveling salesman problem is also comes under the NP hard problem. So genetic algorithm are able to solve this type of complex problems. Third, genetic algorithm focuses on the optimization. Like in normal algorithm like machine learning, text mining and natural language processing, what happens that we take the input and generate the output, means we are trying to finding out the solution for that particular input. But in genetic algorithm it didn't happen. Genetic algorithm are not to find out the solution. Instead, genetic algorithms are used to find out the optimal oblique best solution from a set of solution, you can say. Clear? So now the population of possible solution for a given problem, means we consider here the complex problems like NP hard problem or 01 knapsack problem, traveling salesman problem. That is the problem whose complexity is very high, or you can say the complexity of those problems who have exponential time complexity. So for those problems, normal algorithm didn't work properly. So we need the genetic algorithm where where the search space or the number of solutions are very high. That is, the number of population is very high or very large, and for that number of solutions we have to find out the best solution in order to get the optimal result or optimal solution. So that is what the population of possible solution for a given problem means. From a set of population, we have to find out the optimal solution for a given complex problem, or you can say the NP hard problem. Now, next one is we have to find out the best individual which will survive from a group of individuals. Individuals are nothing but it is the population value, you can say. So here from the group of individuals the best one has to survive. So here the Darwin concept, Darwin, one of the scientists, has given the survival of fittest theory. So here we have to use that theory that from the thousand of genes which are traveling, but among those most of the genes, or you can say the chromosome in terms of genetic algorithm, who is the most fitted will get transferred or participate in the production of new child or the next generation. Clear? So this is the concept behind the genetic algorithm, where it is the idea behind the genetic algorithm is the biological evolution, the real biological evolution which has been taken place. Clear? So here the evolution means creative, mainly the evolutionary computational, addresses many problems such as reproduction and selection by alter and moving data within a computer and rapid design of medicines or machines, you can say. So now what happens in genetic algorithm is genetic algorithms are heuristic search based optimization technique based on the evolutionary principles of natural selection and genetics. As such type of an intelligent exploitation of a random search is used to solve the optimization problems. The basic technique of genetic algorithm is to select the individuals at random and are designed to simulate the process in natural systems which are necessary for evolution. Like here in the diagram you can means this diagram should be after some slides, but here I will discuss here that here the very first step is you have to first make a number of possible solutions which will be considered as population. Among that population you have to select one, that is step one is your selection here, then crossover and then mutation. We will discuss this terminologies in the next slide also. So this is the basic reproduction of the individuals in a genetic algorithm, means how the individuals are reproduced, how the childs have been generated by the reproduction mechanism. Like we have to select two chromosomes, these are nothing but these are chromosomes, and this whole is population, this whole set is population, and the individuals are chromosomes. So these two chromosomes meet over in order to form a child, that is the crossover and mutation. Crossover and mutation happens in order to reproduce the child. Clear? So here what are the terminologies that are going behind the genetic algorithm is, first one is the population. Population is what? Population is a subset of all the possible and coded solutions to the given problem. The population for a genetic algorithm is analogous to the population for human beings, except that instead of human beings we have candidate solutions representing the human beings. Like in this one, all these are nothing but these are populations. Clear? These are the set of populations means solution, you can say. So these are nothing but these are the set of solutions, or you can say set of solution is nothing but your population. Second one is your chromosome. Chromosome is one such solution to the given problem. Like here you can see that this individual is a chromosome. Now gene. A gene is one element position of a chromosome. Allele is the value a gene takes for a particular chromosome. Like here through this diagram it will be clear that this is the population, this one is the chromosome, and from that chromosome, from this chromosome, this particular is a gene, and then it is a allele. So chromosome is a individual, population, and population is what? Set of chromosomes, and from that chromosome if we choose a specific value, then that is gene. And what is allele? It is the value a gene takes from a particular chromosome. Now what is phenotype and genotype here? Phenotype is the population in the actual real world solution space in which solutions are represented in a way they are represented in real world situations. Means whatever we are seeing in the real world, clear, that those solutions are known as phenotype. Means it has no specific written representation, you can say. Clear? Phenotype has no specific written representation, whereas what is the genotype? Genotype is the population in the computation space. Computation space means where the set of solutions exist. So in the computation space the solutions are represented in a way which can be easily understood and manipulated using a computing system. That is raw solutions. Raw solutions means phenotype. Phenotype will get encoded to genotype. Like here I can give one. Here this is your phenotype. Here is genotype. So when phenotype is encoded, then it will form a genotype, and when this genotype will decoded, then it will form a phenotype. Like we can take an example that whatever the search space we have, clear, or whatever the raw data or solution which is not in the written form or no specific written form is there, so that is phenotype. But when these raw solutions are encoded, so it will form a genotype. Like suppose we have a values like 2, 4, 6, likewise that. So if this belongs to some integer type, clear, so this int is nothing but it is a genotype. But if we have 2, 4, 6 means any random value, so it is nothing but it is a phenotype. But if we have assigned some you can say the declaration to that value, or either we define the type of that value, that is nothing but a genotype. Means ultimately we are encoded the phenotype to genotype, and when we will decode the genotype, then it will ultimately give the phenotype. So what is decoding and encoding? And one more point here which I want to add, that if we are giving the fine input means suppose we have declared the type of input, that what type of input is there, then that much fine the output we will receive. But if the input is noisy, it means it is a mixture of like integer is also there, float is also there, decimal. I'm giving just a simple example. So if we have a mixed up of all these different types of data, you can say, means our input is noisy, so then the output won't be optimized here. So in order to get a optimal solution or optimal output, we have to be specific towards whatever the input we have chosen, clear. So what is the concept behind the decoding and encoding? That for simple problems the phenotype and genotype spaces are the same. Like if we have the simple problems, then no need to go for genetic algorithm. Genetic algorithm is basically used for complex problems. So however, in most of the cases the phenotype and genotype spaces are different. Decoding is a process of transforming a solution from the genotype. One second. So what is the decoding? Decoding is a process of transforming a solution from the genotype to the phenotype space, while encoding is the process of transforming from the phenotype to genotype space. And decoding should be fast as it is carried out repeatedly in GA during the fitness value calculation. Here the same thing I have told you, that when we are encoding this phenotype to genotype, this is what encoding process. And when we are decoding the genotype to phenotype, it is the process of decoding, and it should be fast because it should be changed in every computation of fitness value. Now what is fitness value, or what how to compute the fitness value? That is through fitness function. A fitness function simply defined as a function which takes the solution as input and produces the suitability of the solution as the output. In some cases, the fitness function and the objective function may be same, while in others it might be different based on the problem. Like suppose here what happens in your fitness function, that here the set of solutions, you can say the population, is taken as a input. And when the suitability of solution means how suitable or how fit the solution, like I have initially told that here we are using the Darwin principle, that the survival of fittest means whatever the chromosomes or whatever the individuals are fittest, that will be considered as the higher fitness value function, and that will be considered as your output, clear. So in most of the cases when the problems are not that much complex, in that situation the fitness function and objective function may be same. But when the complexity of the problem has been increased or is quite hard, then the fitness function and objective function are not same. It depends upon the user need, or you can say the algorithm designer need, that what type of fitness function he or she wants to prefer instead of the objective function. Now, what are the genetic operators that will be used in order to produce the offsprings, or you can say the child from the parent? So this include the crossover, mutation, and selection process. Here I have already told that these are what these values are not fitted here, but these are what set of solutions. Set of solutions are nothing but your population, and solution is nothing but your chromosome. So these are set of chromosomes. Each chromosome, here I have taken one chromosome. So in this chromosome, each one is the gene, and the value of that gene is ll. Now, basic structure of genetic algorithm. First, we have to initialize the population, means how many solutions a particular problem can have. That is the initialization of solution, means we have to find out the number of solutions for a particular problem. Second one is your fitness function calculation. So we have to find out the fitness function, that is based on the input, whatever the most suitable output we are getting is called the fitness function. Suppose the fitness function can be carried out like how much similar is the word. Suppose if we are choosing the words as a input, and we want the means what should be the fitness function. So based on the input word and the set of population or set of chromosomes, you can say, from that we will compare that how much similar is that words are. So according to that we will define the fitness function. I will give you one example of this fitness function. Suppose if we are choosing the
Hello, Dr. Akanksha ma'am? Akanksha madam?
ಹಲೋ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ.
ಒಂದು 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು.
ಹಾಂ ಹಾಂ. Participants, kindly wait.
5 minutes? Oh, okay, okay. Actually, when we are on full screen, na, at that time it didn't show. Okay, okay, okay. Hello,
Yeah, ma'am.
ma'am, but in my side nothing is visible.
Ma'am, you have to present the screen. Yeah, your PPT is
No,
not.
no, PPT is opening,
No,
but
no,
here
it's,
I can't. It's.
no, it's
Ma'am,
not there.
I'm joining it again. I'm joining it again. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
leaving. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Akanksha, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for the disturbance. There is some network issue, so
No problem,
might
ma'am.
be difficult. Okay. Okay. Till what slide you have been there? Because I don't know.
Ma'am, please do the slide share screen, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Here I have to discuss this one population, or you have
Ma'am, previous slide. Yeah, this is all explained. Yeah,
this explained, no?
terminology. Yeah, terminology you're telling.
Yeah, here, from here
Yes,
itself.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. So here in this diagram, we have seen that basic structure of genetic diagram, that we have to first initialize the population, then we have to calculate the fitness, and here I have told that we have to select the parents also in order to get the crossover and mutation operation performed here. And then here we will check for the survivor selection, whether the whatever the solution we have chosen as the it meets the best solution or not, that is the fittest solution, you can say. And after then that we will iterate this process, continue till the best result we attain. So here we start with an initial population which may be generated at random or seeded by other heuristics. Select parents from this population for mating, apply crossover and mutation operators on the parents to generate new offsprings. And finally, these offsprings replace the existing individuals in the population, and the process repeats. The same process, whatever I have discussed in the diagram, was that one only. So, in this way, genetic algorithms try to mimic the human evolution to some extent. Yeah. So now whatever the terminologies we have seen here, the population initialization. So what exactly should be in the population? So or what is exactly the population? So anyone can tell that what is the population in genetic algorithm? As I have discussed in the previous slides also, that what is the population? Am I
A
audible?
set of initial solution.
Yeah, set of initial solution, or you can say the set of solutions or set of chromosomes. Clear? So population is a subset of solutions, you can say. Here subset also it is written, because why subset it has been written? Because a problem can have a number of solutions, like the NP hard problem we are going, or the complex problems we are going, it can have a range of solutions, but we have to choose a subset of those solutions as population. Why we are going for subset, it will be discussed here based on these 2 points. That first one is that property of the population should be the diversity of population, means the population should be diverse. Why it should be diverse? So that it might not lead to a premature convergence, means there should be no premature convergence should occur. And why, what is the need of the population to be diverse? Just take an example in the real life. We see the example of exit poll. Clear? So what happens in your exit poll means they are not focusing on a particular age group only, like suppose 50 to 70 age group peoples they are not considering, or suppose 40 to 60 they are not considering. In exit poll they are focusing on every age group, whether it can be means 60, it can be 50, 40, 30, likewise that. So every age group people they are considering, so that this number of solutions or whatever the solution set we have, it should be diverse, means either the solution can be worst also, best also, or average also. So diversity means the solution should be very diverse. It can have the worst solution also, best solution, and the average solution also. So that is the property of the population, that the it should be diverse. It is a very important point in order to make a solution or subset of solution as a population, that the solution should be diverse. Second point is that the population size should not be kept very large, as it can cause a genetic algorithm to slow down, while a smaller population might not be enough for a good mating pool. Therefore, an optimal subpopulation size needs to be decided by trial and error method. What exactly it means? That whatever the population we have considered, or whatever the size of population or the number of population we have considered, or number of solution we have considered, it should not be very large, Why it should not be very large? Because if it is very large, then the genetic algorithm will take that much of time to produce the best solution or to get the optimal result, and ultimately it yields to the slowdown of the system. And it should not be too small also, because too small, if we are taking the population size very small, then we can't yield to a optimal solution also. Clear? So the size should be optimal. Optimal means means not a minimum, not a maximum. In between those range, we have to decide the number of solution, and it will be decided only by the hit and trial method. Clear? So how to initialize or how to decide that what should be the population, or what should the what solution we have to consider? Clear? So we have to populate the initial population with completely random solutions. Either the random mechanism we can choose, or the heuristic approach we can use. But it has been observed that the entire population should not be initialized using a heuristic approach, because in the population, because the heuristic approach can result in the population having similar solutions also, and very little diversity will be there. If we are initializing our population by using the heuristic approach, then the diversity will be very less, and it may be a chances that the similar number of solutions we can attain by using the heuristic approach. So while performing the experiments, so it has been observed experimentally that the random solutions are the ones to drive the population to optimality. Means the optimal solution we can achieve by using the random initialization process. Therefore, with the heuristic initialization, we just seed the population with a couple of good solutions, filling up the rest with random solutions rather than filling the entire population with heuristic based solution. So you can say that the population initialization will be a combination of heuristic as well as the random solution and random initialization. But heuristic initialization will just seed the population, and rest the random solution will fill up all the solutions or entire population. Clear? So here, what exactly the fitness function is? Now we have understood what is a population, that it is a set of chromosomes, you can say, or set of solutions, you can say, which should be diverse in nature, and the size of that population should not be too large and too small. Now next one is the next step which we go through the diagram, is the fitness function, how to evaluate or how to calculate the fitness function. So what is exactly the fitness function is that based upon the input, whatever the most suitable output we are getting is called the fitness function. Like the fitness function can be simply defined as a function which takes a candidate solution to the problem as input and produces as output, as how fit or how good the solution is with respect to the problem in consideration. How fit and how good, how we will achieve, or how we will say that a particular solution is the fittest solution or the good solution. Here we have to use some functions based on which we can say that particular solution is the fittest solution or the good solution. So calculation of fitness value is done repeatedly in a genetic algorithm, and therefore it should be sufficiently fast. A slow computation of fitness value can adversely affect a genetic algorithm and make it exceptionally slow. In most cases, the fitness function and the objective function are the same, as the objective is to either maximize or minimize the given objective function. However, for more complex problems with multiple objectives and constraints, an algorithm designer might choose to have a different fitness function. And a fitness function should have the following properties. First, the fitness function should be very fast to compute the solution. Second one is that it must quantitatively measure how fit a given solution is, or how fit individuals can be produced from the given solution. And third one is that in some cases, calculating the fitness function directly might not be possible due to inherent complexities of the problem at hand. In such cases, we do fitness approximation to suit our needs. There are some fitness approximation methods also which we can use here. Here I have used some examples in order to tell you that how the fitness function will be computed. It is a daily life example which I have chosen. Like suppose there is a output, you can say the tug output I want, clear, and the possible number of inputs, or you can say the population or set of solutions are this one, like jug, cup, and ABCD. So now suppose we have to make a word like tug, clear, and the input is jug, cup, ABCD. Suppose first input is jug. So how we will find out the fitness function? So here I am taking or considering the fitness function as the similarity function, that how similar the two words are. So based on the similarity of the words, I am choosing the fitness function. Like suppose here the jug, the jug word is similar to here the first letter J and T didn't match, U matches, so 1, T matches, G matches, so 2. Here I assume that the fitness value is 2 for jug. Now if I assume the cup, so what will be the fitness value of tug with cup? So the cup will have C is different, U is same, and D is different. So here the fitness value is 1. And ABCD, if I compare the similarity between the ABCD and tug, so what is the similarity? It is 0. Clear? So which like fitness function, who is most fitted, or how good the solution is? So which solution is good, or which word is good with as compared to the tug? So it is the word jug. So this jug means those word which has highest fitness value, we are considering that that word or that term will have the, or it is the good, or it is the fittest or fit word, you can say. Clear? So this is one example of fittest function, fitness function. Like here I want to make a word make, clear, and my input is cake, take, and ABCD. So cake will have how much similarity? Cake and make, how much similarity is there? This C didn't match, A match, K match, and E match. So here it is 3. For take also it is 3. Like suppose I have A, M, E, K. So what is the similarity of this word A, M, E, K? All the words are matched with make. Clear? So here the fitness value is what? 4. And for ABCD it is 0. So which word I will choose as the most fittest value? That is this one. That is AMEK, because it has the highest fitness value and it is most similar as compared to the other words as to make. So through this form we can compute the fitness value, and based on the highest fitness value, we say that this particular solution is the more fittest as compared to the others. So we will choose this type of solutions as the parent for generating the new offsprings. Now parent selection. How to select the parent? So here one thing I want to add, that parent selection is directly proportional to the fitness function. That is, selection is directly proportional to the fitness function. So parent selection is the process of selecting parents which mate and recombine to create offsprings from the next generation. Parent selection is very crucial to the convergence rate of the genetic algorithm, as good parents drive individuals to a better and fitter solutions. However, care should be taken to prevent one extremely fit solution from taking over the entire population in a few generations, as this leads to the solution being close to one another in the solution space, thereby leading to a loss of diversity also. Clear? Here we have to be careful about the diversity principle, that there should be no loss of diversity. Whatever the solution we are choosing, it should be diverse. So maintaining good diversity in the population is extremely crucial for the success of genetic algorithm. This taking up of the entire population by one extremely fit solution is known as premature convergence and is an undesirable condition in a genetic algorithm. Now the fitness proportionate selection. Here we have introduced one word, that fitness approximation. So how to compute the fitness proportionate selection, means how we can select the parents based on the fitness value. Clear? So here one possible solution I have I told you that what should be the parents. Like suppose if this one make is there, like suppose make word is there and its two solutions are cake and take. So what should be the parent for making this child as make? So here A, B, C, D, the fitness value is 0, cake is 3, take is 3 and cake is 3 fitness value. Clear? So instead of this A, B, C, D, sorry, for this A, B, C, D fitness value is 1. Here A matches with this A, this A, this A. Clear? So here the fitness value of ABCD is 1. So how to select the parents? So the parent will be selection based on the same fitness value. Whatever the fitness value a word has or a chromosome have, if both are the same, so we will choose that same value as the same solution as the parent for the new, for generating the new offspring. But the same value should be the highest, means among these three, cake, take and ABCD, the cake and take has the highest fitness value, which is 3. Suppose if this is not 3, if it is 2, then we will choose the cake and take also. Clear? And if it is 1 1, then any one, either take you can consider or ABCD you can consider, so that too will be considered as the parent. Now fitness proportionate selection. Fitness proportionate selection is one of the most popular ways of parent selection. In this, every individual can become a parent with a probability which is proportional to its fitness. Therefore, fitter individuals have a higher chance of mating and propagating their features to the next generation. Therefore, such a selection strategy applies a selection pressure to the more fit individuals in the population, evolving better individuals over time. So here we have considered a circular wheel. Clear? And the wheel is divided into n pies. Clear? Means n sections you can say, where n is the number of individuals in the population, and each individual gets a portion of the circle which is proportional to its fitness value. Means here this sentence, each individual gets a portion of the circle which is proportional to its fitness value. Means those individual who has the highest fitness value will have a higher portion of the circle. Like suppose here you can see this portion. So this portion has highest fittest value. Like this is the chromosome A. Means it is representing the chromosome A. So this chromosome has highest fitness value. So it will capture the large portion of the circle. So there are various selection method. Like first one is your roulette wheel selection. In roulette wheel selection, the circular wheel is divided as we have discussed before. So a fixed point is chosen. Here a fixed point is chosen like this. Clear? This one, a fixed point is chosen on the wheel circumference, and the wheel is rotated. Now the wheel will be spinned. Here this. Now the wheel will be spinned. Now the region of the wheel which comes in front of the fixed point is chosen as the parent. For the second parent, the same process is repeated. Like here, when we are spinning this or when we are repeating this wheel, the fixed point in front of this fixed point, yellow color is coming. Yellow color represents your this is A, this is B, this is C, and these are some, so suppose D, E or F you can say. Clear? So it is representing the value as E. Clear? So here it is representing E value, that is 4, sorry, I have done wrong somewhere. Here this is A, then 4.2 E, E is this one, then it is B, then this is C, this is D, and this is F. Clear? Based on the fitness value, the wheels has been divided. Clear? So based on this, the fixed point came into the chromosome D. Chromosome D falls in the fixed point. So the parent one will be your D. Now parent 2, again we have to spin this wheel, and upon rotating this wheel, whatever the chromosome is coming in front of this fixed point, that will be your parent 2. And from that parent 1 and parent 2, the new offsprings will be generated based on the operations which we will perform. So it is clear that a fitter individual has a greater pi on the wheel, and therefore a greater chance of landing in front of fixed point when the wheel is rotated. Therefore, probability of choosing an individual depends directly on its fitness value. Like here I have written that the selection is directly proportional. Selection is directly proportional to the fitness function. Means whatever the fitness value we have, the selection will be direct proportional to the fitness value. Like fitness value, whatever the higher range is there, so higher proportion of will be captured, and based on the higher proportion, if the higher proportion of will is captured by a chromosome A, then the chances of being selected as a parent will be higher for the chromosome A irrespective of the other chromosomes. But it is not 100%. 100% we can't guarantee that the A will fall as the first parent and then E will fall as the second parent. It is a hit and trial method, you can say, or the rotation of the will. You can say that because it is not the 50% of the will is captured by the chromosome A, some portion but a large portion has been captured by the chromosome A. So the large chances or the probability of coming A as the parent one will be higher. So second method is the stochastic universal sampling method. In this, it is quite similar to roulette wheel selection. However, instead of having just one fixed point, we have multiple fixed points. Like here we have two fixed points. So from that these two fixed points, we can identify the two parents, that is from this one as parent 1 and this two as parent 2. While rotating, we will identify the two parents in one rotation itself. Clear? So this is the logic behind stochastic universal sampling. Third one is the tournament selection. In this tournament selection, what happens in K-way tournament selection, we select K individuals from the population at random and select the best out of these to become a parent. Like here, these are the set of populations. Now among these populations, we are choosing the three chromosomes, like A, E and T, like this: A, E and T. K number of chromosomes have been selected at random, not the based on the fitness value. They have been selected at random. Now among these three, the value of K will be decided by the user, that how many number of K will be there. Now based on these three chromosomes, we will pick up the best. How we will pick up the best? Like A is having the fitness value 5, E is having the fitness value 2, and T is having the fitness value 2. Clear? So among this fitness value, which one is higher? A is higher. So we will pick this A as the parent. Now for the second parent, this is the parent 1. To produce a child or to produce a new offspring, two parents will be required. Clear? So first parent we have chosen. Now for the second parent, we will again perform the same function, that we will choose again the three chromosomes randomly, and then we will pick the best one as a parent who has the highest fitness value. So this is the motive behind the tournament selection. Now next is rank selection. What happens in rank selection? Rank selection also works with negative fitness value. Yeah, one important point which I forgot to discuss, that all these tournament selection, stochastic universal sampling and roulette wheel selection does not have or does not consider the negative fitness value. Clear? But in rank selection, this it considers the negative fitness value and is most commonly used when the individuals in the population have very close fitness values. This leads to each individual having an almost equal share of the pie. Here, rank selection will be applied when the fitness value are very close to each other. Like here you can see 8.1, 8.0, 8.05, 7.95 like this. So the fitness values are very close to each other. So in this case, the rank selection will be applied, as well as when it has the negative fitness value also. So the rank selection will be applied. So here the this leads to each individual having equal share of the pie. So here the pie will have a equal share, equally shared by the chromosomes, that is A to F, and hence each individual, no matter how fit relative to each other, has an approximately same probability of getting selected as a parent. Means among these six, anyone can be chosen as parent. It doesn't depend upon your fitness value, because all the fitness values are very close to each other. So it can be any one of the chromosome can be selected. So this in turn leads to a loss in the selection pressure towards fitter individuals, making the GA to make poor parent selection in such situations. Clear? This is the drawback also, that as the fitness value is very close to each other, so it might lead, you might get a poor parent selection also. Now there is one another mechanism also, that is random selection, which the random selection, in this random selection we select the parents from the existing population randomly, but there is no selection pressure towards the fitter individual, and therefore this strategy is usually avoided, because whenever we are selecting the parent randomly, it might lead to convergence problem also, premature convergence, because it might be possible that the chromosome which has lesser fitness value can be considered as a parent. So random selection is usually avoided. Now when after choosing the parents, what is the next operation? That first we have chosen the parent. Now what will be the next procedure to be followed? So next procedure is the crossover. Clear? So the crossover operator is analogous to reproduction and biological crossover. In this, more than one parent is selected and one or more offsprings are produced using the genetic material of the parents. So crossover is usually applied in a genetic algorithm with a high probability. So what are the crossover operators which we can use here is, first one is one point crossover. So what happens in point crossover? These are the chromosomes, first chromosome and second, or you can say the parent one and parent two. So how it will lead to a child or generation of new offsprings, how it will. So here we will a random crossover point is selected, and the tails of its two parents are swapped to get new offsprings. Now here what we will do, these are the two parents P1 and P2. So we will choose a random point. This is one point, so we will random choose this point. After this point, to the, you can see the right of me. Clear? After this point, we will swap these two tails. These two tails. That is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is same. Now we have swapped this 3, 5, 7, 5, 8 to this one. So it is 3, 5, 7, 5, 8. Now next is what? In the left hand side will be same. That is 5, 8, 9, 4, 2. But in the right hand side, the upper one will get swapped. That is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Clear? So this is the concept behind the one point crossover, that the new offsprings will be generated when a crossover point will be selected, and after that crossover point, that is the tail of this parent, will get swapped to generate a new offspring. That is one method to reproduce the offsprings. Now second one is multi-point crossover. Multi-point crossover is a generalization of one-point crossover, wherein alternating segments are swapped to get new offsprings. Like here you can see, here 2 points we have, 2-point crossover we have chosen. You can choose more than 2 points also, like 3, 4, depending upon the chromosome size. So here multi-point means 2 points, first point and second point we have chosen. So here how we have swapped it, like here you can see in the parent 1, this is parent 1, this is parent 2. So here the left side of crossover point 1 is same in both the this, it is same. Now we have swapped this two we have swapped, and these two we have swapped. So this is the new offsprings which has been generated through this parents. Now third one is uniform crossover. What happens in your uniform crossover? In a uniform crossover, we don't divide the chromosome into segments. Rather, we treat each gene separately. Means what is a gene? That is each individual part of a chromosome, like 0, 1, 2, 3. These are what genes. So we are considering these genes separately. In this, we essentially flip a coin for in this essentially flip a coin for each chromosome to decide whether or not it will be included in the offspring. We can also bias the coin to one parent to have more genetic material in the child from the parent. Now here you can see that how we have flipped it. Like this, first we have flipped first this one, then second one we have flipped, then 4 2 we have flipped. Sorry, it is not flipped. This one 3 4 has been flipped. Then 4 5 will remain as it is. This is 4 5 will remain as it is. Now the 5 has been flipped, this one flipped, and then this one is also flipped, and then 7 is remain as it is, and then this one is flipped. So it depends upon the user need that how they are performing the crossover. In uniform crossover, you can flip any bit randomly. Clear? So this is the main motive of uniform crossover. Now there exists a lot of other crossover operators also, like partially mapped crossover, order based crossover, shuffle crossover, ring crossover, etc. So you can see it afterwards also. Now genetic, after crossover, the next operation which we will perform is the mutation operation. So what happens in your mutation, that in simple terms, mutation may be defined as a small random tweak in the chromosome to get a new solution. It is used to maintain and introduce diversity in the genetic population and is usually applied with a low probability. If the probability is very high, the genetic algorithm gets reduced to a random search. Now what are the different mutation operators are there? First is your bit flip. Bit flip means we can change the bits, like here this one has been converted to 0. Here you can see this one has been converted to 0. So that is the bit flip mutation. Next is what? Random resetting. So random resetting is an extension of the bit flip for the integer representation. In this, a random value from the set of permissible values is assigned to a randomly chosen gene. Means here we have chosen the binary values, that is 0, 1. But in case of randomly, it can be any integer value, that is 0 to 9. So we can change any value to with this range. Now next is what? Swap mutation. So in swap mutation, we select two positions on the chromosome at random and interchange the values. This is common in permutation based encoding. Like this is the chromosome, first chromosome. So we can change this bits, like 2 has been changed to 6 and 6 has been changed to 2. Now scramble mutation. What happens in scramble mutation? It is also popular with permutation representation. In this, from the entire chromosome, a subset of genes is chosen and their values are scrambled or shuffled randomly. Like here, we have chosen a scramble, like here, 5 bits. 5 bits we have chosen to perform the mutation, and we can swap it or shuffle it randomly. Like here we have this 2 we have placed here, 3 at the beginning position, 4 at the third position, 4 is remaining in the same position, and 6 and 5 here. Clear? So in scramble mutation, we select a slot of chromosome, you can say a specific slot, and then we randomly shuffle it. Now next one is inversion mutation. Here also we choose some slot like this one, subset of genes. Clear? And then we perform reverse operation, inverse operation, like instead of 2 it will be 6, then 5 4 3 2. Here like this has been just reversed. Clear? So this is inverse mutation. Now survivor selection. So I have told you that the survivor selection means best fittest value. Or here there are two approaches also. First one is age based selection and second one is the fitness based selection. So fitness based selection is nothing but the same fitness value you have to choose, and in age based selection we will assign some age over here. Like here these are the chromosomes P1 to P10. These are the fitness values of these chromosomes, and these are the ages, that whatever the age a chromosome has. Clear? So in this age based selection, we choose the oldest members of the population like P4 and P7, which has to be kicked out of the population, and the ages of the rest of the members are incremented by 1. Means here in age based selection, what we will do, that two chromosomes like P4 and P7 we have chosen. Why we have chosen? Because they have the oldest age, that is 10 and 9. So we have chosen these chromosomes for the parent selection. So this has been chosen as the chromosome for the parent selection, and now it has been produced the offsprings as C1, C2, and then the age will be considered here as 0, and the rest of the chromosomes like P1 to P3, the age, like here it is 6, so it will get 7, then 9, and then 4. Likewise this, the age will be incremented by 1. So this is what age based selection means. Based on the age of the chromosome we are selecting the parents. Clear? So this is the survivor selection criteria, that based on the age we can identify the parents. And second one is the fitness based selection. In fitness based selection we will identify the parents based on the fitness value. Now what should be the termination condition in the genetic algorithm? So the termination condition of a genetic algorithm is important in determining when a genetic algorithm run will end. Means when the termination, that is the loop, will come to an end. And it has been observed that initially the GA progresses very fast with better solutions coming in every few iterations, but this tends to saturate in the later stages where the improvements are very small. We usually want a termination condition such that our solution is close to the optimal at the end of the run. So we have to keep the one of the following as a termination condition. First one is that when there has been no improvement in the population for X iteration. Suppose after X iteration the same population has been come, or the same chromosome has been come as the parent, means there is no improvement in the parent selection, so we can terminate there itself. Second one is that when we reach an absolute number of generations, means suppose if we want 10 generations or 15 generations, so if we have obtained that much generations and we have obtained all the means parents, and we have generated all the new offsprings, at that time we can terminate the condition. And third one is that when the objective function value has reached a certain predefined value, we have to set it for the objective function. Like in a genetic algorithm, we keep a counter which keeps track of the generations for which there has no improvement in the population. Initially, we set this counter to 0, and each time we don't generate offsprings, we are better than the individuals in the population, and we increment the counter. So these are some of the steps which we can use for the termination condition of the genetic algorithm. Now, what should be the application of genetic algorithm? The genetic algorithm or evolutionary programming have the following applications like traffic routing and planning, pharmaceutical design, cancer detection, military planning, system identification, and in case of electrical, that is power engineering. Clear? Now I will 15 minutes are left, so I will give you some introduction about the swarm intelligence, what exactly the swarm intelligence deals with. So here is a swarm. What is the word swarm? Meaning of swarm. So swarm is nothing but it is a group or collection of individuals or agents which move somewhere in large numbers with emergent property. Means what? Here the swarm means that it is nothing but it is a collection of individuals. Like you can see in the sky the birds are flying. Means when a group of birds are flying in the sky and following a same path, so that is nothing but a swarm. You can say the ants, which is our home also, or outside the home also, they are also found in the collection of means in a group or in a collective way. So that is also a swarm. Means the swarm is a group or collection of individuals which move somewhere in large numbers with emergent property. Means they follow a same path what the other species of their kind are following. Now next is swarm intelligence. Like here you can see that the intelligence means word is what, that they are following the same path and in a group they are here. So this is the intelligence, means what intelligence is here, like when ants are going, clear, or you can say the birds, when birds are going and they want the food, they are in the search of some food, so they follow the same path. The one bird will make a sound so that the other bird can hear, and based on that sound all the birds will come forward and make a group of birds. So it is the intelligence. So why this intelligence word came? Because the birds are searching for their food, so where that food will be reached, the food will be reached by one bird, then she will make a sound and call the other one in order to in order that the other bird will also get the food. So this is the main motive behind the swarm intelligence. That is the one example of bird. You can see the example of fish schooling also, that when one fish got the food, then the fish also tries the other fishes will also come and take that food. So that is the fish schooling also, and in case of ants also the same process or same criteria is there. So, what is swarm intelligence? The study of computational systems inspired by the collective behavior is called as swarm intelligence and is one of the most important concept in artificial intelligence. Okay, I forgot to ask the question. If anyone has a question with genetic algorithm, you can please raise your question. Then I will move forward to the swarm intelligence.
Participants, any questions on genetic algorithm?
Ma'am, I had one query.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you were talking about if the next offspring is not generated and the increment is done. Could you please explain how the concept is? Means I was not very clear
Which
about
concept,
why
madam?
in the genetic algorithm incrementing the count. You had mentioned the last method just before swarm intelligence. You mentioned that even if the offspring is not generated and the species is of a better quality, that means the parent.
No, that is
Yes.
termination. Termination.
Mm-hmm.
Termination
Yes,
condition
yes,
you are
yes,
asking,
yes.
madam. Huh. No, there are three conditions. Not. I'm not telling that offsprings were not generated. I told that if there is no improvement in the population, it means that the same parent have been selected for the getting the new offsprings.
Okay, that means already selection is done.
Okay. Yeah, selection is done, but the same parent has been considered for generating the new offsprings. Clear?
Okay,
So that
okay.
might be a, and after a absolute number of generations also, means that suppose if we want 10 generations and 10 generations have already been iterated and we are getting the same number of parents itself, clear, or sorry, same parent. So that will be a terminating condition in that case.
That means we have already achieved the count.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. How can apply genetic algorithm in cancer detection? So like in cancer detection there are images are there, clear. So based on that, because I am not working on a specific cancer detection, but I know that what exactly happen in the cancer detection is that what type of cancer you want to detect. Like suppose skin cancer is there, breast cancer is there, a lot of cancer diseases are there. So a lot of their you can say the images is, it means whatever the scanning process the patient has to go, clear. So based on that you can capture the images, and based on that images you can apply the genetic algorithm here, like what is its past history, whether his mother or father has that type of disease or not, means their parents has that type of disease or not, or what if they have not the disease, then what other circumstances will be there. So in that scenario we can use the genetic algorithm here. I think biometric device is working on pattern recognition, but when someone apply Hina. So it's suitable to recognize the person fingerprint. How we solve this problem? Yeah, for that pattern recognition, you can use the neural network itself, because it is also a, you can say the neural network is also a means it has the capability of analyzing the behavior of the patterns. So in that biometric device itself is a neural network concept is used in the biometric device. It is not the device. There some programs have been built on where that programs will able to capture those fingerprints, and then it will match with the person's fingerprint. They have also the inputted fingerprint images also, so that it can match with the test images as well as the training images. Okay, any further queries? uh, I think I should go for swarm intelligence if some.
Ma'am, you can continue with
Okay.
swarm intelligence.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Here, what is SWAM? The study of computational systems inspired by the collective behavior is called as SWAM intelligence. Means whatever the behavior has been shown by the collective group, you can say, like the ants, the bird, or the fish schooling. These all comes under the SWAM intelligence. Clear? And is one of the most important concept in artificial intelligence. The collective intelligence is coordination of large numbers of homogeneous agents in the environment, like the flock of birds, schools of fish, colonies of ants are the instances of swarm intelligence. This type of intelligence is self-organizing, decentralized, and distributed throughout an environment. Why self-organizing? We are saying because here the group of peoples, or sorry, group of you can say birds or fish are organizing in a individual way, and then they are commonly make a decision, or you can say make a intelligence in order to organize that pattern. So third, and the here the whatever the type of neural network is using is the search oblique path finding, because ultimately the birds, the fishes, and the ants were in the search of food, and the food through which path they are getting, that is the most important point, that here the path has been found out by searching criteria. Clear? So this all this swarm intelligence are basically working on the search and path finding mechanism. Now same is biological inspiration, that is ant colonies, schools of fish, and flock of birds we have used. Now where we can use this swarm intelligence? First one is your in your robotics system you can use, like video game artificial intelligence, manufacturing process it can be used, and route planning it can be used. And what are the most commonly known algorithms in this swarm intelligence or the collective intelligence concept is ant colony optimization and particle swarm optimization. On a basic level, the algorithms in question all utilizes the multiple working agents. Multiple working agents means like multiple ants, multiple birds, or multiple fishes. Means a lot of that is the collective group you can say, that is the multiple working agents. Each working agent exhibits very basic behavior that collectively as a pack works together to bring out more complex and emergent behavior in order to solve the problem. Now under the swarm intelligence a lot of optimization algorithms are there. So these are particle swarm optimization, ant colony optimization, cuckoo search, biogeography based optimization, and artificial bee colony optimization. I will discuss here only two in a very brief way, in a very short way. Here, what is a particle? That it is a small localized object which can be ascribed several physical or chemical properties such as volume or mass, like individual fish, like you can say the fish, bird, ant, every this species have its own volume and have its own mass, and this has been considered as a particle in swarm intelligence. Now what is a swarm in described earlier also, that it is a group or collection of individuals like ants, birds, fishes, which move somewhere in large numbers with some emergent property. Emergent property, what is emergent property? I will tell you, just wait here. And optimization means the action of making the best or most effective use of a situation or resource. Whatever the resources we have, whatever the situation we have, in order to make it utilize and make a effective decision or effective action, you can say, that is the optimization. Like in route mapping, whatever the route we are following, is it is the best one or not, it has the less cost, less time. Likewise, that there are several optimization criteria so that we can utilize that one here. Now, what is particle swarm optimization? Particle swarm optimization is a population-based stochastic optimization technique developed by Dr. Eberhard and Dr. Kennedy in 1995, which is inspired by social behavior of bird flocking or fish schooling. The social behavior of bird flocking or fish schooling has been considered in particle swarm optimization, and the ant colony's behavior has been taken in the ant colony optimization technique. Clear? So PSO shares many similarities with evolutionary computation techniques such as genetic algorithms. The system is initialized with a population of random solutions and searches for optima by updating generations. However, unlike GA, PSO has no evolution operators such as crossover and mutation. Like what happens in our genetic algorithm, we have to do the crossover operations and mutation operation, but in PSO, there is no need to perform the evolution operators of crossover and mutation. In PSO, the potential solutions called particles fly through the problem space by following the current optimum particles. Now, compared to GA, the advantages of PSO are that PSO is very easy to implement and there are very few parameters to adjust. PSO has been successfully applied in many areas like function optimization, artificial neural network training, fuzzy control system, and other areas where GA can be applied. In order to explain how the PSO had inspired from the formulation of an optimization algorithm, we will discuss the behavior of flock of birds, that what exactly the birds will do. Now suppose the one scenario that a group of birds are randomly searching food in an area. There is only one piece of food in the area being searched. So all the birds do not know where the food is, but they know how far the food is in each iteration. So what should be the best strategy to find out the food? So the effective one is to follow the bird which is nearest to the food. Means the bird which is very nearest to the food, all the birds will follow the same bird. Clear? So here you can see in this diagram that this bird, suppose this bird is very near to the food. So all the birds, like this bird, in every direction, they are moving towards this bird. Clear? How they will move? That bird will make a sound. And based on that sound velocity, the birds will move in that direction. Clear? So you can see that all the birds are following the one bird who is near to the food. Now suppose another bird, like suppose this bird observe that the food is near to her, so she will call another bird by making a huge sound, and then all the birds will come forward or follow that bird, and later on another bird will observe that, suppose this bird will observe that the food is near to her. So again all the birds will follow her. So now every time what happens, the personal value of bird, like suppose this bird has some velocity and some position, and some velocity. The bird is having some position and some velocity, so that will be changed. So every time what happens, the personal value of bird will get changed. And how it will change? As they go nearby the food. So the weightage and volume of collection of birds will also get attracted to that bird who is nearby the food. Means if that bird will change its position, suppose this bird will change its position, so all the birds here and all the birds here will also change its position based on the position as well as the velocity, based on the voice or sound she will create. Clear? So here the two values are there. First one is your p best, this one p best. P best is what? The personal best value of individual bird oblique element, whatever the element. In case of research point of view, if you are telling the element, or in case of bird, that is the individual value of the bird. And second one is the g best, that is the best value of global, you can say. G means global, p means personal. So the global value means the value of the collection of birds, you can say. Clear? So these two values we have to compute for the particle swarm optimization. And when all the birds reach to the food, then p best and g best will be same. Means when this p best and g best will be same, at that time the at that time the iteration will stop. Clear? This is the terminating condition of the you can say the particle swarm optimization technique. Here we have to initialize the x, that is the position of the bird. Second, we have to initialize the velocity of the bird. Then we have to evaluate the fitness, like fitness function can be any one of the function which we have discussed earlier. Then we will initialize the p best, like initially the p best value, anything you can initialize, like whatever the value it is having, like 0 also you can initialize. And then the g best with a copy of xi with the best fitness. And then we can iterate it till the satisfying condition, stopping condition is satisfied. And stopping condition is when the p best and g best both will be same. Clear? So this the goal of the optimization is to find out the is to determine a variable represented by a vector, this one, that minimizes or maximizes depending on the proposed optimization formulation of the fitness function, that is your fx. Now next one is your ant colony optimization. What happens in ant colony optimization? That ant colony optimization is a population based meta heuristic approach that can be used to find approximate solutions to difficult optimization problems. The notion behind ACO is based on the natural algorithm used by the real ants to generate a near best path between their nest and the food source. Like, and it is also known that the ants are blind, deaf, and also dumb. It should be remembered that the ants are blind, deaf, and almost dumb. So how they are maintaining the path? It is a very important point to consider, that how they are maintaining the path. So a set of software agents called the artificial ants search for good solutions to a given optimization problem. To apply ACO, the optimization problem is transformed into the problem of finding the best path on a weighted graph. That is, we have to find out the best path on the weighted graph. The artificial ants hereafter incrementally build solutions by moving on the graph, and the solution construction process is stochastic and is based on the pheromone model. What is pheromone model? That is a chemical substance which an ant will release while going to that path. So while their behavior directed to the survival of the colony, during their seeking food process, ants deposited chemical substances, that is what pheromone, on their way back to their nest, that form a trail for other ants, means that form the path for the other ants, you can say. So here this is ant colony optimization. Here you can see that pheromone. What is pheromone? That is a chemical substance produced and released into the environment by an animal, especially a mammal or an insect, affecting the behavior or physiology of others of its species. Means whenever an ant is going in a particular direction, it will release some chemical substances, so the other ant will feel that chemical substance, and she will follow the same path. Now again, the at the end also the same path will be followed, because each ant will secrete the chemical substance, so that the other ant will aware that this is the path which we have to follow. Now here the other ant sense the chemical for pheromone, and the paths become with high probability to be visited next time. The ants in the next round become interested to the marked paths, and the more pheromone that is released on the path, the more attractive the path becomes. Means whatever the number of ants is going through that path, the more pheromone will get released, and the same path will get followed by the other ants also, and that becomes the attractive path, you can say. So this marked trial attracts other ants on next seeking food process. Now, one most important point is here that the pheromone which is subjected to be released by the ants is evaporated over the time. Means as the time goes on, the pheromone will get evaporated. So this evaporation rate will be more significant along longer paths. Like here you can say this path. This is the longer path. So here the evaporation rate will be higher. So shorter paths are refreshed more rapidly and being more likely to be visited in next seeking food process. Therefore, having the chance of being more frequently explored by other ants. Here you can see the first, second, and third map. Just initially, ants tend to seek food randomly. In the left part, you can say, like suppose from here the ants are starting. Clear? Sorry, here the food is there, F is food, and now the ants is starting from moving from here. Clear? So here they start to mark their paths using pheromone. Like here one ant is going, so here she will release the pheromone. So based on that pheromone, other ant will also try to, means the other ant will get attracted and try to follow the same path. So then the path would be determined and with highly chance to be visited by the next seeker. Naturally, ants will visit the marked path and tend towards the most efficient path due to the fact that it is characterized by the highly density of the chemical hormone, which is the main communication medium between the used by the ants. That is the communication media. What communication media ants are using? That is the pheromone phenomena. Clear? So here you can see that in the third stage, this path, this is the shortest route you can say, and not the longest route. So here the pheromone quantity, pheromone which is used by the ants are more as compared to the this path and this path. So this path will be followed by the ants in order to seek the food. So ant colony optimizations are usually used to solve the minimum cost problem, and there are two main phases, that is ant route selection construction and pheromone update. These are very basic thing which we have to keep in mind, that is the route selection and the pheromone updation. So I think these are some of the applications of ant colony and PSO. That ant colony optimization will be used in routing, traveling salesman problem, telecommunication, discounted cash flows in project scheduling. That is the part of your operation research, in classification also, and protein folding method also. And particle swarm optimization will be used in phase detection, heartbeat classification, object detection, image classification, and railway vehicle design. So I think time has been over. So I will stop here.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, all madam, for your valuable information and guiding us regarding the sheen solutions and strong solutions for us. Thank you once again. Thank you all the participants. We shall join after a short break and go on with the next session and sharply. Thank you, madam, once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
I think information you are guided us with the right step. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I am leaving, madam.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Akanksha.
Thank you. Thank
For a
you.
wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all the participants for listening to me, and those who have not listened, it's not at all means whatever you have listened, and if you don't listen also, it's good. But I tried to cope up with all the topics, and some are left. So let's hope whenever you are doing any research and you face any problem, just contact me. My email ID is in NITRR website, NIT Raipur website is there, so you can contact me anytime.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Session, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thanks for all the participants who listen to my lecture. Thank you very much.
Yeah.